Greetings, Islam, peace and love. Thank you for tuning into my channel. I am Sade Renee L, all rights reserved. And today I'm going to be going over birth certificate and jurisdiction violation fraud. As we should know by now, my baby has been kidnapped by CPS, known to most, and they have no jurisdiction whatsoever. And I also want to let you guys know that I'm not here to give any type of legal advice. If you need legal advice, please, become more competent and nationalize. Nationalization is the order of the day. And also, for the record, a notice to principal is a notice to the agent, and a notice to the agent is a notice to the principal. All right. And again, me being Sade Renee L, I am standing on my God-given rights, natural law, unalienable rights. We'll get into that. And again, it sucks that it has gotten to this point where I still have to make these type of videos, but I'm going to continue to make them until they free my baby. Free baby Ashe Divine L, all rights reserved. And as days go by, I kind of understand it day by day. This is by Frederick Douglass. He says, "A man without force is without central dignity of humanity." I like that statement. I like that a lot. And so I'll start with the birth certificate. I have never signed a birth certificate. I don't know if you guys are aware again, but I self-delivered my baby. I self-delivered her. We had an amazing pregnancy. I had an amazing childbirth, my first baby in this whole wide world. And she's healthy, happy, and I never signed a birth certificate. I did my due diligence while I was pregnant, and I made sure not to sign her over. Therefore, she can become a corporation. And in regards to that, for example, the birth certificate. The birth certificate is an instrument of human trafficking. It is administered from a private agency. The stamp on the birth certificate from thumb or footprints creates and establishes under the jurisdiction of a corporation, which makes the child a corporation, thus human trafficking. Again, I have never signed over my rights. I never signed a live birth. I never signed a birth certificate. She's mine. She belongs to me. Now, I actually want to get into this video. I'm going to play a snippet of this. It's actually 4 minutes, so bear with me. It's actually 8 minutes, but we're going to play 4, and then I'll get back to it at the end of the video. So just bear with me. It's actually very informational. Shout out to Brother Odom Larib, and I'll just go ahead and play it.
Very important. That's why I mentioned that coming into here dealing with television, because these people they've lost some children. They still holding them. And did y'all see the brothers that the deputies or the policemen, black men went in there and snatched them. Now, why I said black went in and snatched them? Because after all of the snatching that's been done on us, you see, I was a flight engineer. I'm going to tell you what consciousness do for you, what it did for me. I was a flight engineer in the Air Force on heavy jets. That's the way I got around the world, hauling cargo for the government. I'd probably help bring, I don't know how much cocaine in here. You don't know what you're hauling. You know what I'm saying? You don't know what you're hauling. They already got the dogs to keep you back, so they watching it. So you don't know. I don't know what's in there. You don't know. As they say, I'm just doing my job. Where does the job cross the line? We got to draw the line somewhere. But anyway, I was looking at these black men running in, the children screaming and going on, and I said, these poor people don't know why that's happening. They said, those are my children. You're taking my child. I want my child back. Well, technically, we know that is your child. We know that is your child, that you gave birth to that child. But something happened at the time, right after you gave birth, that's been dealing with you ever since it happened. And you know what? Coming back to what I originally started talking about, the media, television, help perpetuate the game. Why do you think they got so many judge shows on TV now? Judge Judy, Judge John, Judge Phil, what's his name? Joe Brown. You run out of fingers trying to count them. one after the other, one after the other, and not one site, not one book of law is ever mentioned. Just nothing but opinions handed down, good soap operas, but never any law. And that is to get you to think that what you see is the delivery of justice. That ain't justice, that's just this. And I've taken some time and I've looked at some. I'm not a habitual television watcher, but I got to know what's going on now. What are they saying there? And I make sure I turn it off. Because like anything, it's addictive.
I know he does a little side talking, but he's going to get to it.
I can have this ain't but a little bit. All right? But anyway, they were there and they are using the media to put this forward. All right? Like it's some real justice going on. And then we will even question the people here, the ministers. How many years those people been there? How many children have they helped correct? And you're going to always have some that don't like what you're doing. And if they get an opportunity to drop a lie on you, they will drop one in a heartbeat. And they have the powers that be behind them. All right? Why was it they could go in and take their children? And even took a girl a young lady who was of age, 17 years old, took her and her baby. And got people begging for their children back. How can they do this to you? How did they do it if they are your children? Well, they take it that they are not your children. You gave them up. Everybody who's got a birth certificate, everybody who signed a birth certificate for their child, I know you didn't mean no harm. I know you didn't mean to do it, but you were just doing what they told me to do. I thought that, you see, my people are destroyed for the lack of knowledge. This thing has been an albatross. It's been a chain on us ever since the day it was created in 1921. And I was just telling Bobby earlier that I came across this information. It was just too heavy not to have this many people in front of me and not tell them. And not only them, I have another newspaper article where they took a woman and put her in jail and took the child because she breastfed. Said that was child abuse and child molestation because her child slept in the bed with her and she breastfed. Now, my mother would have been in jail too. We didn't have but 2 bedrooms when I was growing up. Her bedroom, and I had 2 brothers, they slept in one.
Okay, so I'll pause right there for now. And he spoke again, nothing but the truth. Nothing but the truth. Nothing but the truth. And again, for the record, I'm more American. I am a foreign national. They do not have jurisdiction over me, my property, my persons, anything. None of that. I've sent them, for the record, several times who I am. And as far as status, let me give you the definition of status. Status is the standing, the state, or the condition being a social position. It is the legal relation. Relates to the rights, the duties, the capacities, and the incapacities. It establishes a state. All right. So unalienable rights. That's what we all have, and that's what I'm standing on as well. My unalienable rights. That means that they can, well, I'll give you the definition, It means inalienable, incapable of being alien, that is sold or transferred. They belong to you. No one could take it away. I'll give you an example. When my baby came out, and I first delivered her, I didn't have to slap her. I didn't have to choke her. I didn't have to shake, none of that. She breathed. She took a breath. I didn't have to tell her to do nothing. She took that. Okay? Nobody had to explain to her. She took that because that's her unalienable rights. She deserves that. No one can take that away from you. No one gives you breath. So what, now all of a sudden they're going to start charging us for air and y'all probably going to pay for it? No, that's out. You have to take your power. Got to take the power. Got to take the power. So yeah, you don't need permission. They're yours. And also fear is rooted in ignorance. We fear what we don't know. And all men are created equal. And I actually had something in regards to all men being created equal with certain unalienable rights. And for some odd reason, I can't find it. So I'll just move along for now. Because it does seem like we live in a world now where you're guilty before innocent. I thought you used to be innocent before guilty. Like, what is that? What is that? What is that? What is that? And it goes back to like being a story, like if, like say for example, if I wanted to be a man tomorrow, I could wake up tomorrow and say I want to be a man. Like that's just crazy. You have unalienable rights. You have the right, you know, within rights. You know, you can't just go out and kill nobody or anything of that nature. Don't hurt people. You know, live on truth, honor, justice, peace, and freedom. You know, but you have that right. And as far as that, I have given them the legal notice. And I'll go over my legal notice. And this has been certified. It has been notarized. It has been, you know, again, the notice to the agent is a notice to principal, and the notice to the principal is a notice to agent. So I'll go ahead and read this information that they have on file. It has been filed as well with the county clerk. It has been sent to the governor of Nevada. It has been sent to the attorney general of Nevada. It has been sent to, you know, the quote unquote judge, magistrate, acting as administrator. It has been sent to Child Family Services, CPS, corporation, acting as, actors and agents. And this information has been sent. So I'll go ahead and read what they have. I, Sade Renee L., natural mother. 2, Ashe Divine L., all rights reserved, Moorish American natural, in proper persona, sui juris, private entity, 2 CFR 175.25, being duly affirmed, standing squarely, declare and proclaim upon divine law, nature's law, natural law, universal law, Moorish birthrights, international law, and constitutional law, all rights reserved, declare and say, I, Ashe Divine L., all rights reserved, the living sentiment woman and rightful heir was not lost at sea. I, Ashe Divine L., being previously identified by the Union States Society of North America, USA, all capitals, under a colorable wardship name and authorized representative ex relatum on behalf of, then I have her straw name, all capitals, and do hereby refute the fraud. Any use of the instruments, Social Security card, birth certificate, and any other issued instruments, adhesion contracts, used as negatable instruments, that pertains to the name and signature Ashe, then I have her straw man, all capitals, her date of birth, was under ignorance, without full disclosure, threat, duress, coercion, or starving desperation to acquire resources, operate in commerce only after having been denied use of indigenous credentials, and has been many times exhausted. Now the list just goes down as far as gives some codes, just lets them know that the name is de facto and all capital, straw man, things of that nature. And again, I didn't even need this because she doesn't have a birth certificate. But for the record, I gave them this just in case they tried to create a birth certificate in the process of them doing this human trafficking, holding her hostage for profit. You never know what type of sneaky stuff these people are going to do, because I'll get to that in the video too. Maybe we'll get to that, but I'll just say it out for loud. We'll get to the video with that. And so therefore, I gave them the information also just to refute the fraud. Whatever fraud that they are trying to commit right now, for the record, just so they know that who I am, who my daughter is, who my offspring is, who my future kin will be. Because this goes deep. This goes deep. So I just want to read that also out. And jurisdiction, they have no jurisdiction over me. And jurisdiction means the right to adjudicate, authority over something. And that's something they don't have. And also just to point out, there is no higher law than the truth. None at all. None. What do they say? And the truth is ought, and ought is Allah. And I am law. Allah. I mean arm. Yeah. Arm, leg, arm, head. Allah. With that being said, I will go into the second part of the video. Oh, and also I did want to go over the fact, for the record, what I also sent them in regards to delegation of authority. Now, delegation of authority is the right or permission to act legally on another's behalf, the power delegate by principle to agent. So it's like, you know, even when I went for my special appearances, they tried to summon me, and you summon the dead. You don't summon the living being. For the record, blood runs through my veins. I'm a living being, a divine creator, may I add. And, you know, it's like when you go to court, the court actually does have, they have two things in mind. Who's the debtor and who's the creditor. And the debtor, normally loses 100% of the time. All they're worried about is that fiat, that moolah, those Federal Reserve notes, that money, honey. Sad. Just sad. Just unjust people just crawling around the earth. Look, aliens, foreigners, stateless peoples, all of the above. So I want to get into quo warranto. And that's pretty much when these fake judges and fake magistrates and fake lawyers and attorneys call themselves having jurisdiction over you, you give them a quo warranto so they can prove jurisdiction. And I just read a part of what I had sent them. And it says, as all government entities and alleged private corporations must be a creature of the American Constitution, this is a formal request and command for Child Family Services, Paya v. Patel, Adriana Rincon White, Michelle Pelino, Nicholas Eason, Shalonda Adams, to produce, for the record, the physical documented delegation of authority as proof of jurisdiction as required by law per Article 3, Section 1 of the United States Republic Constitution. All right. So these people, again, keep wanting to move forward. That's why I'm making the video, because they need to be exposed. And again, I'll just keep repeating it. Anytime you break the law, you're a lawbreaker. Anybody who breaks the law is an outlaw. And it's just sad. And again, you gotta fight. You gotta fight. All right, I'll get into this.
Title. You see, this certificate represents the title because it cannot be both the thing it represents and the thing itself. Now I want to show you something that happened here. After you sign the birth certificate, it becomes a warehouse receipt for human goods. Now, the hospital, for every one that they turn in to the county, they get $4,000. And there's a value of, in the beginning, it was $625,000 placed on that birth certificate. Now it's gone up to $1 million. So the hospital gets $4,000 for each birth certificate they turn in. And once that birth certificate is made, guess whose name is put in? It's not put in your name. I'm speaking of whoever got a birth certificate. That birth certificate don't have your name on it. It has what is known as your straw man's name on it. What is a straw man? The straw man is a legal fiction. You see, because from now on, what has been established to run the world has been corporations. The 13th Amendment.
Actually, that's 14th.
Not 13th, the 14th Amendment.
But he spoke nothing but the truth right there. because again, this is all for profit. They're literally holding her hostage for profit, trying to get me to sign this birth certificate. So that's their ransom. You sign the birth certificate, you get your baby back. I'm not signing no birth certificate because, again, she doesn't belong to them. I have my rights. They are out of order, and they don't have any jurisdictions, jurisprudence, none of that over me or my children, my offspring, none of that. And so I've also sent them violation warnings. And also, to double back to the beginning when I first played the video, did you hear the story when he said that they took the lady to jail for breastfeeding her children? They got her for child abuse. That's what they pinned me for, child abuse. And I did nothing, absolutely nothing. First of all, a statute is not a law. They have me on some fake statue that anybody can make up anytime that they want to go behind their secret chambers and have lunch on their golf courses and try to make more profit for themselves, to take vacations. You know, the powers that be, they've done years of plots. It's crazy. And it's got to stop. Just unjust people. And I'm also going to get into some case law because, again, I have challenged jurisdiction for the record. And that's what this video is about, jurisdiction and birth certificate fraud. Because, again, I never created one. So if a birth certificate does exist, it's been done fraudulently, for the record, for the public to know. It's been done fraudulently. I've never signed. My baby should have never put her fingerprint on anything, her footprint, none of that. It's out. None of that. None of that happened. None of that. Again, I've challenged jurisdiction. A judge ceases to sit as a judicial officer because the governing principle of administrative law provides that courts are prohibited from substituting their evidence, testimony, record, arguments, and rationale for that of the agency. Additionally, courts are prohibited from substituting their judgment for that of the agency. Courts in administrative issues are prohibited from even listening to or hearing arguments, presentations, or rationale. Right there. When acting to enforce a statute and its subsequent amendments to the present date, the judge of the municipal court is acting as an administrative officer and not in a judicial capacity. Goodness gracious. Courts in administering enforcing statutes do not act judicially, but merely ministerially. And that's Thompson versus Smith, 154 SE 583. Where rights secured by the Constitution are involved, there can be no rulemaking or legislation which would abrogate them. That's Miranda versus Arizona, 384 U.S. 436125. For the record, on the record, and let the record show from where do you derive your authority and jurisdiction in this matter. Once challenged, jurisdiction cannot be assumed. It must prove to exist. Stuck versus Medical Examiners, 94 CA 2D 751.211 P2D 389. I love that one right there, because once you challenge jurisdiction, it has to be proven. Period. And I mean, they had me in kangaroo court. I know I had mentioned that last time, but I just wanted to give a definition of kangaroo court. Kangaroo court is the term descriptive of a sham legal proceeding in which a person's rights are totally disregarded and in which the result is a foregone conclusion because of the bias of the court or tribunal. This real. This real, y'all. Real. Of course. Like, what? And you know, kangaroo court is connected to colorable law, color of authority, color of court, all that. False. False, false, false. And also, I said a lot about the courts, the fake courts, and the fake judges, but also in regards to CFS, Child Family Services Las Vegas, de facto Las Vegas, home of the baby thieves, home of the baby stealers, home of the human traffickers. No one is immune. I told CFS what it was. They still haven't given the proper council notification. So they know what it is, and no one's immune. And I've let them know this through this. Officers of the court have no immunity when violating a constitutional right from liability, for they are deemed to know the law. Owens versus Independence 100 S.C.T 1398.445 U.S. 622. Also, I'll close with this. An unconstitutional act is not law. It confers no rights. It imposes no duties. Affords no protection. It creates no office. It is in legal contemplation and inoperative as though it had been never passed. Norton versus Shelby County, 118 U.S. 425. All right, so that's what I have for today. Please stay tuned for my next video. In the meantime, in between time, study, study, study. Thank you for your time and energy. Free baby Ashe, you know? Freer, like immediately, like right now, like this second, like somebody should be knocking on my door. Release. Islam, peace and love, I self-law and master. Until next time, peace.